Before you sleep tonight, let these words bring peace to your heart. Take a deep breath, and let it go slowly. Feel your body sinking gently into the softness beneath you. Feel your shoulders relax. Feel your hands rest, quiet and still. There is nowhere else you need to be right now. There is nothing else you need to do. Tonight, you are simply here, safe, breathing, resting. In a few moments, we are going to walk together through an old and gentle promise. A promise that has comforted tired hearts for thousands of years. It comes from a quiet psalm, a song written long ago by someone who knew what it felt like to be afraid in the night. And who found, in the middle of that fear, a shelter that never fails. Tonight, that shelter is for you too. So let your eyes grow heavy. Let your breathing grow slow and even. You do not have to remember every word. You do not have to understand everything all at once. You only have to listen. And let the peace settle over you, like a warm blanket being drawn gently up to your chin. Tonight, you are covered. Tonight, you are held. Tonight, you can finally rest. This is a Bible sleep story, a slow and quiet journey through Psalm 91, one of the most comforting passages ever written. It speaks of shelter, of safety, of a love so wide that it wraps around you even in the darkest hour of the night. We are not going to rush through it. We are going to move slowly, the way a parent walks slowly beside a sleepy child, matching their small, tired steps. There is no hurry here. No deadline. No pressure. Just a soft voice, and a story, and the quiet promise that you are not alone. If you are lying in bed right now, let your body sink a little deeper into the mattress. If you are still moving around the house, know that it is all right to keep listening as you finish settling in for the night. Wherever you are, let your mind begin to soften. Close your eyes if you can. Unclench your jaw. Let your forehead relax, smooth and calm, like still water. With every breath, imagine the day's worries becoming lighter, and lighter, until they are almost nothing at all. Tonight, we are not thinking about tomorrow's schedule, or the things left undone, or the words someone said that stung a little. Tonight, we are simply going to rest in a very old and very true idea, that there is a place of shelter for the weary. And you are welcome there. You are welcome there right now. Let's begin. Long ago, in the dry hill country east of the Jordan River, there lived a shepherd named Eliam. He was not a famous man. He did not have great wealth or a great name. He simply had his sheep, his staff, and the wide, silent land that stretched out around him under a sky so big it seemed to hold the whole world. Eliam had spent his whole life outdoors. He knew the smell of rain before it came. He knew which caves in the hillside offered shelter from the wind. He knew the sound of a wolf moving through dry grass, and the sound of a sheep in distress, and the difference between the two, even in the deep dark of midnight. But there was one thing that still frightened him. It was the night. Not the ordinary night, the kind that comes softly after a warm evening. He did not fear that kind of night. What frightened him were the long, uncertain nights out in the wilderness, far from his village, far from the fire and the voices of family, when the wind moved strangely through the rocks and every shadow seemed to hide something unknown. On one particular evening, Eliam found himself far from home. His flock had wandered further than usual, chasing patches of green grass tucked between the stones, and by the time he noticed how low the sun had fallen, there was no time to lead them all the way back before dark. So he did what any careful shepherd would do. He gathered his sheep into a natural hollow between two large rocks, a place shaped almost like a room, open to the sky but closed on three sides. It was not his home. It was not soft or warm. But it was shelter, and shelter would have to be enough for tonight. As the last light faded from the sky, Eliam sat down at the entrance of that stone hollow, his staff across his knees, and watched the stars begin to appear, one by one, like quiet lamps being lit in a great dark house. He was tired. His legs ached from walking. His eyes were heavy. And yet, sleep did not come easily, because his mind kept turning over all the things that could go wrong in a night like this. Wild animals. Sudden storms. Robbers who sometimes moved through those hills, looking for travelers who were alone and unprotected. His grandmother, when he was small, used to sing him a certain song on nights like this, when his father was away with the flock and the house felt too quiet. He had almost forgotten the words. But sitting there, wrapped in his cloak, listening to the wind move over the stones, the melody came back to him, soft and slow, and with it came words he had not thought of in years. He began to hum it under his breath, and then, almost without meaning to, he began to speak the words aloud, quietly, into the darkness. Whoever rests in the shelter of the Most High will remain safe in the shadow of the Almighty. He said to himself, "The Lord alone is my refuge, my place of safety. He is my God, and I will trust in him." As he said these words, something in his chest began to loosen. It was strange, he thought, how words could do that. How a sentence spoken quietly into the dark could feel like a hand placed gently on a trembling shoulder. He thought of the shelter of a great bird, the way a mother eagle spreads her wings wide, and her young ones tuck themselves underneath, safe from the cold wind and the circling hawks above. He imagined that kind of covering now, not made of feathers, but made of something even stronger, a quiet, steady presence that surrounded him on every side. He will cover you with his feathers. Under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield, your protection, day and night. Eliam breathed out slowly. The night no longer felt quite so large. The shadows no longer felt quite so hungry. He pulled his cloak tighter, and he kept speaking, softly, the way one speaks to a frightened child. You will not be afraid of the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies in the daytime, nor the sickness that moves in darkness, nor the trouble that comes at noon. 1,000 troubles may fall near you, 10,000 may surround you, but they will not come near you. You will only watch and see how it all comes to peace in the end. He was not entirely sure he understood all of what he was saying. He was young, and the world had already shown him things that were hard and sad and unfair. He knew that even shepherds who trusted God still faced storms, still lost sheep, still buried loved ones far too soon. But there was something underneath the words that felt true in a deeper way, something about not being alone in the middle of trouble, something about being held even when the storm was real. He thought about his father, who had taught him to walk through fear instead of around it. His father used to say, "Eliam, courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is knowing someone is walking beside you in the fear." And Eliam, sitting now in the hollow between the rocks, decided to believe that tonight. Because you have made the Lord your refuge, and the Most High your dwelling place, no harm will overtake you, no disaster will come near your home. He thought of home then, gently, the way one thinks of a warm memory before sleep. He pictured the small window of his family's house, the lamp his mother always kept burning a little longer for him when he was out with the flock, the sound of his younger sister laughing at something silly during supper. Home felt far away tonight, out here among the rocks. And yet, somehow, the words he was speaking made this cold hollow between two stones feel a little more like home too. For he will command his angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways. They will lift you up in their hands, so you will not strike your foot against a stone. Eliam looked down at his own tired feet, dusty from the long day's walk, and smiled faintly at the thought. He had stumbled more than once on the rocky path that afternoon. He had thought nothing of it at the time. But now, in the hush of night, it felt like a small kindness to imagine that even his stumbling feet had not been forgotten. He leaned his head back against the stone behind him, and one of his sheep, a young ewe who always seemed to stay closest to him, shifted quietly and settled against his leg, the way sheep do when they trust the one who is watching over them. Eliam rested his hand gently on her woolly back, and for a moment, in the quiet, he understood something new. The sheep did not understand where they were, or why the path had been long, or why the night had come before they reached home. They only knew that the shepherd was near. And because the shepherd was near, they could rest. Eliam whispered into the dark, "Maybe that is all I need to understand too." He thought of the words again, turning them over slowly in his mind, the way one turns a smooth stone over in the palm of a hand. "Because you have loved me, says the Lord, I will rescue you. I will protect you, because you know my name. When you call on me, I will answer. I will be with you in trouble. I will deliver you and honor you. With long life I will satisfy you, and I will show you my salvation." The wind outside the hollow rose and fell, like slow, deep breathing. The stars above grew brighter as the last color drained from the sky. Somewhere far off, a night bird called once, and then was still. Eliam did not feel that all his fears were gone. But he noticed something had shifted. The darkness was the same darkness. The wilderness was the same wilderness. But he no longer felt like he was facing it alone. He imagined, the way children imagine before sleep, that unseen wings were spread quietly above the little stone hollow, above the sheep, above him, keeping watch through every hour of the night. He whispered the old words once more, slower this time, letting each phrase settle like a stone sinking gently to the bottom of still water. The Lord is my refuge, my dwelling place, my shelter under his wings. I will not fear the night. I will not fear the darkness. I will rest, because he is watching. I will sleep, because he does not sleep. I am covered. I am kept. I am his. His eyelids grew heavy. His breathing slowed. The ache in his legs faded into the softness of near sleep. He thought once more of his father's words, of his grandmother's song, of the sheep resting quietly against him, of wings unseen but somehow felt. And there, in the hollow between two ancient stones, under a wide sky full of quiet stars, the young shepherd finally closed his eyes and slept. Eliam slept deeply that night, deeper than he expected to, given how uncertain the evening had felt. When he woke, it was still dark, but something had changed in the air. It was that quiet, gentle hour just before morning, when the world holds its breath, and the sky begins to soften from black to a deep, soft blue. He sat up slowly, careful not to disturb the sheep resting around him. The fear from the evening before felt far away now, almost like a story he had heard about someone else. He looked out at the hills, silver and quiet in the fading dark, and he found himself thinking again about the words he had spoken the night before. He thought about how many other people, across many years, must have sat in places like this, afraid of the dark, afraid of being forgotten, afraid of being alone, and had found comfort in these same old words. Shepherds like him. Travelers far from home. Mothers watching over sick children through long nights. Soldiers waiting for a battle that had not yet come. Every one of them, in their own kind of wilderness, whispering the same quiet trust into the dark. It comforted him to think that he was not the first, and he would not be the last, to need shelter in the night. There was something almost peaceful about being part of that long, unseen line of tired hearts finding rest in the same old promise. As the sky slowly turned from blue to a soft, warm gold, Eliam gathered his flock and began the walk home. His legs were still tired, but his heart felt lighter. He walked slowly, in no rush, letting the sheep graze along the way, letting the morning light spread gently over the hills. He thought about a story his grandmother used to tell, about how, long ago, people carved words from this very psalm onto small scrolls, and wore them close to their hearts or hung them near the doorways of their homes, so that whenever fear came knocking, whenever the night grew heavy with worry, these words would be close, ready, waiting to be remembered. He thought that perhaps he did not need a scroll. He thought that perhaps, from now on, he would simply carry the words inside him, the way one carries the memory of a loved one's voice, ready to bring comfort whenever it was needed. By the time Eliam reached the edge of his village, the sun had fully risen, spilling warm light across the rooftops and the small gardens and the winding paths between the houses. He saw his mother standing near the door, shading her eyes, watching for him the way she always did when he had been out too long. She hurried toward him, worry and relief mixed together on her face, and asked if he was all right, if anything had happened, if he had been afraid out there all alone in the dark. Eliam smiled, a tired, peaceful smile, and said, "I was not alone." His mother tilted her head, not quite understanding, and Eliam simply reached out and took her hand, the way he used to when he was small, and said, "I will tell you the whole story tonight, by the fire. But for now, all you need to know is this. Even in the loneliest hollow, in the darkest hour, I was not alone. And you are never alone either." They walked home together, side by side, the sheep following quietly behind them, and the morning light stretched out ahead of them like a road made of gold. There is something deeply true hidden inside this old story, something that reaches far beyond a shepherd, far beyond ancient hills and quiet flocks. It reaches into your own night, right now, wherever you are resting. We all have our own version of that stone hollow between the rocks. Maybe yours is not made of stone at all. Maybe your hollow is a worry that keeps circling your mind at night. Maybe it is a memory that still aches. Maybe it is simply the quiet, ordinary tiredness of a long day, a long week, a long season of life. And maybe, like Eliam, some nights you feel the weight of the dark pressing in a little too closely. Maybe some nights you feel small, and the problems around you feel large, the way shadows always look larger in the dark than they really are. But the same gentle shelter that covered a young shepherd long ago is still here tonight. It has not grown old. It has not grown tired. It does not sleep, even when you finally do. You do not have to understand every part of your life right now. You do not have to solve every problem before you close your eyes. Tonight is not for solving. Tonight is for resting. Let the unsolved things rest too, quietly, in the dark, until morning comes. You are allowed to lay down your burdens tonight, even the ones you have carried for a very long time. You are allowed to stop holding so tightly. There is a wide, gentle shelter here, and it does not ask you to be strong to enter it. It only asks you to come. Think, for a moment, of everything you carried today. The small frustrations. The long list of things to do. The words you wished you had said differently. The worries about tomorrow, about money, about health, about people you love. One by one, imagine setting each of these down gently, like heavy stones lowered slowly onto soft ground. You do not need to carry them through the night. They will still be there in the morning if you need them again. But tonight, you can rest. Let your breathing slow. Let your body grow heavy and warm. Let your mind grow quiet, the way a house grows quiet after everyone inside has finally gone to bed, one lamp switched off after another, until only a soft, warm glow remains. You are covered tonight. You are kept. You are not forgotten, even in the smallest hours of the night, even when it feels like the whole world is asleep and you are the only one still awake with your thoughts. You are seen. You are held. You are loved. Now, let us pray together, softly, the way you might speak to someone who loves you very much and is sitting quietly beside your bed. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, even the hard parts of it. Thank you for bringing me safely to this quiet moment, to this soft place of rest. Tonight, I lay down every worry I have carried since morning. I lay down every fear that has followed me into the evening. I lay down the things I cannot fix tonight, and I ask you to hold them for me while I sleep. Be my shelter tonight, the way you were a shelter for the weary traveler long ago. Let me rest in the shadow of your care, safe from every fear that tries to creep in when the lights go out. Cover me gently, the way a parent covers a sleeping child with a warm blanket, tucking the edges in with love. If there is fear in my heart tonight, replace it, softly, with peace. If there is sadness, hold it gently until it grows lighter. If there is anger or hurt from today, soften it, and help me release it, so it does not follow me into my dreams. Send your quiet peace over every room in my home tonight. Watch over the people I love, wherever they are resting right now. Watch over the ones who are struggling tonight, the ones who are afraid, the ones who feel alone. Let them feel, somehow, in ways only you can arrange, that they are not forgotten. Thank you for this soft place to lie down. Thank you for breath that rises and falls without me even trying. Thank you for rest, that quiet, healing gift that mends both body and heart while I am not even watching. Let your angels, unseen but present, keep gentle watch through every hour of this night. Let no fear come near, and let no trouble follow me into sleep. Let me wake tomorrow rested, renewed, and ready, however that day unfolds. I trust you tonight, Lord, the way a tired child trusts the strong arms carrying them home after a long day. I do not have to stay awake and watch for danger. I do not have to solve every problem before I close my eyes. I can simply rest, because you do not rest, and you are watching over me. Thank you for loving me, even on the days I forget to notice. Thank you for staying close, even in the quietest, darkest hours. Tonight, I rest in you. In a spirit of quiet trust, I say Amen. You are safe now. You are safe, wrapped in warmth, wrapped in quiet, wrapped in a love that never grows tired of holding you. You are loved, more deeply than words can fully carry, more steadily than any single day could ever show. You are not alone tonight. Even in the stillness, even in the silence, even if the whole house is quiet and the whole world outside seems to be sleeping, you are not alone. Let your breathing grow slower now, in and out, each breath a little softer than the one before. Let your thoughts grow quiet, like a candle flame settling low and steady, no longer flickering, just glowing gently, warm and calm. You can rest now. You do not need to hold on to anything else tonight. You do not need to think of anything else tonight. You have done enough today. You have carried enough today. Now it is time to lay it all down, and rest. The shelter is here. The shadow is soft. The wings are spread quietly above you, unseen, but real. You are covered. You are kept. You are held, all through this night, until the soft light of morning comes. Rest now, rest, rest. Sleep well. Let us slow down even further now, and sit for a little while longer inside this old and gentle promise, letting each part of it settle deep into your mind like sand settling slowly at the bottom of calm water. Picture, if you can, a wide and open field at dusk, the kind of field where the grass moves softly in the evening breeze, and the sky above is turning that deep, quiet shade of blue that comes just before the stars appear. Somewhere in that field, there is a small stone shelter, old and simple, built long ago by hands that understood how important it is to have somewhere safe to rest when the day is done. Imagine walking slowly toward that shelter now, tired from a long day, your feet a little heavy, your shoulders carrying the weight of everything you have thought about, worried about, tried to hold together today. With every step closer to the shelter, imagine that weight beginning to ease, just a little, and then a little more. When you finally reach the entrance, imagine stepping inside, and finding it warm, and quiet, and completely safe. Outside, the wind may still move through the grass. Outside, the night may still hold its usual shadows and unknown sounds. But inside this shelter, none of that can reach you. Inside, there is only stillness, only peace, only rest. This is what the old psalm was trying to describe, in words written so long ago, and yet still true tonight, still true for you, still true no matter what today held or what tomorrow may bring. Whoever rests in this shelter is kept safe, not because the world outside becomes perfectly safe, but because the shelter itself is strong, and steady, and does not fail. The storms may still come. The uncertain nights may still arrive. But inside the shelter, there is a covering that reaches wider than any storm, deeper than any fear, closer than any shadow. Let yourself imagine, just for tonight, that you are resting inside that shelter now. Not out in the wind. Not out in the cold. Not carrying anything heavy. Just resting, quietly, in a place made just for tired hearts like yours. Think of every person, in every generation, who has needed a shelter like this. Think of mothers rocking sick children through long nights, humming quiet songs into the dark. Think of travelers far from home, lying down under unfamiliar skies, missing the sound of familiar voices. Think of the sick, the frightened, the grieving, the weary, all of them, across all of time, reaching for the same gentle promise you are reaching for tonight. You are joined to all of them now, in this quiet moment. You are part of a very long, very old story of people who grew tired, and needed rest, and found a shelter wide enough to hold them. There is no need to rush through this feeling. Let it settle slowly, the way warmth spreads slowly through cold hands held near a fire. Let your whole body soften a little more with every breath. Let your mind release its grip on today's worries, one gentle finger at a time, until your hands, your heart, and your thoughts are open and empty and ready for rest. You do not have to keep watch tonight. You do not have to stay alert, listening for danger, waiting for something to go wrong. Tonight, someone else is keeping watch. Tonight, you are the one being watched over, the one being kept, the one being held. Let your eyes close a little more heavily now. Let your breathing slow even further. Feel the shelter around you, unseen but real, warm and quiet and completely trustworthy. You are safe here. You have always been safe here. And you will be safe here again tomorrow night, and the night after that, and every night that follows, because this shelter does not close, and this covering never runs out, and this love never grows tired of holding tired hearts like yours. Rest now, a little deeper. Rest now, a little longer. There is nowhere else you need to be. There is nothing else you need to carry. Just rest.